Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Side of Sports podcast, where we highlight all the good being done by athletes and organizations to give back. I'm your host, Brian Hartong, and today I am joined by a foundation that was essentially created by a single hat.
So it's funny. It all started with a hat, pretty much.
Kind of, sort of. And so growing up, I met Ted Karras, center for the Cincinnati Bengals in 8th grade. When Ted was finishing his time at Illinois, about to join the Patriots, that was right around when my mom was launching the Village of Merici, a living and service provider for adults with developmental disabilities. So Ted went over, took a tour, and just absolutely loved it, was really impressed with what my mom was building, and was like, this is my charity. This is the cause that I'm going to support. And then his neighbor in Florida is a rep for a hat company, Imperial Headwear. And so they were sitting around drinking by the pool when Ted was about a month away from moving to Cincinnati. And she said, you should make a hat as a gift for your teammates. Just selling hats. That's her job. And he's like, oh, I love that idea. Like, help me design it. Let's do something Bengalsy. And all of a sudden, this like mystique around this hat that only the players could get and nobody else could get their hands on grew. So that's when we launched the Cincy Hat Foundation, kind of 2 years into the stories.
The Walter Payton Man of the Year.
In that first year, we had sold about $1 million in hats. And so that's when Ted got the first Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination. When we were going to get that PR around that award, I was like, oh my God, that's going to be like a tidal wave. And this is all happening right around Christmas. So I pitched my mom. I'm like, hey, let me come work for you for like 3 months. It's just a 3-month stint, but like, let me weather the storm of the holidays. And we sold $250,000 in hats that month when all that got announced. So and Ted calls me that night and he's like, dude, isn't that crazy? Like 3 of those guys said they get the tattoo. We know him. He's like, yeah, like, Drew and Bangalorian said they were going to get the tattoo. Isn't that nuts? And I was like, yeah, it's hilarious. And it just evolved so fast. And of course, we're both thinking it's so funny. And we're like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever. Do it. And then I had to live with the reality of planning that. I think that's the hardest I'll ever work in my entire career, planning that event over a 6-week period. It was on St. Patrick's Day. So we called it St. Taddy's Day. The co-branding and the hat being a joint fundraiser for other organizations too.
And I get the players just jumped on board. It's probably helped a little bit at least.
Tyler Boyd.
Cool. I saw Jamar Chase had the hat on.
Sam Hubbard, Joe Burrow, Andrew Abbott. So did you see what Trey Hendrickson did a couple weeks ago? Oh, UC. So it's called the TAP program. So it's a 4-year college program. We're starting small intentionally. It's very expensive to build buildings.